Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, man. Hunt the ball. Let's go, family on three. 1, 2, 3, family.
Hello, football family. Welcome into Huddle It Up Films. Man, here we are. Ravens-Packers week 15. First week of the fantasy football playoffs for many. So happy fantasy playoffs to those who participate in that. I have Jake Vogel and Garnett West. And Garnett, what do you got over there, man?
I don't know, just drinking a little Stella, man. Hoping we can catch our groove back this week on offense, since we have not scored since week 6. So, I've been hacking about this every Thursday, if y'all have noticed. So hopefully we can catch a little groove.
Yes, I noticed that. They said it on the broadcast, 8 games without a first quarter touchdown for the Ravens. Picked up on that. I thought of you. The first person I thought of was, yep, that's what Garnett's talking about. We're getting closer, man. But man, that elusive first quarter league, man, we've been just outscored in the first quarter, much like the Packers have, by the way. Slow starting team over there as well. So, guys, before we get into the individual matchups, State of the Ravens time. I already heard from Garnett. So, Jake, why don't you kick us off? Let's get your nice voice, vocal pipes in there. How you feeling about the Ravens? Obviously, a crazy week, though, with all the COVID going on, too.
Yeah, it's a tough time for the team, really. We've had injuries all year, and now we have to worry about COVID because probably these things are catching up to players with the holidays. Thanksgiving just happened a couple weeks ago, so that could be part of it. And then we played Cleveland, and of course, right after the game, we found out that they had a number of COVID cases. So Chuck Clark is on the list now, so we're without him for the game on Sunday. That's going to be a really tough obstacle to overcome for the team, but we are going to try to figure out any small fractional way that the Ravens can pull out this win, because you know what? These games in the NFL are close, pretty much regardless of the talent on each team. So we'll see.
It really is. And, there is a pathway for the Ravens to win this game. I know a lot of us are down. And, I mean, you mentioned it, Chuck Clark, green dot wearer, Garnett. So, we're going to have to give the green dot to somebody who's in there for every down. You can't just say, oh, give the green dot to, Patrick Queen. Well, Patrick Queen isn't on the field every 100% of the snaps. Your safeties are. Some of your cornerbacks might be, but again, they're lined up on the outside. It's hard for them to communicate. So you're looking, Garnett, at giving the green dot to like a Brandon Stevens or a Geno Stone or whoever you expect to be in there. The Ravens now, at the beginning of the season, had Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, Chuck Clark, Deshaun Elliott, all 4 of those guys gone in the secondary. They're 4 best players. So, Garnett, just how are you feeling? I imagine, it's a little bit nerve-wracking on you as it is for the rest of us.
Yeah, man, it's nerve-wracking. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little nervous, but at the same time, though, who ain't? And I just look at it like this, man. I think Brandon Stevens is gonna be one who doesn't have to dot on it, man. And it just makes the most sense. He's, had the most snaps out, in the back, the back end of the defense. Stone, he's been out there quite many times, but I do believe the dot holder will be maybe a Brandon Stevens. I just don't see a corner having it like a Anthony Averett, because that's hard to travel your voice or travel, communication from one side of the field to the other side. That's ridiculous. So it's definitely probably going to be, a Brandon Stevens, I believe.
I would have to agree with that, and I think it's not as simple as that too. It's going to take a village, for communication. The Josh Bynes is going to have to be huge when he's on the field, and that kind of thing. Just getting everybody on the same page. So getting into this game, the matchups are kind of hard to call because of all the injuries again piling up on the Ravens. Now we're dealing with COVID, but when the Ravens have the ball, start there. On the offensive line, the Ravens have some major issues at practice. Guys not practicing. Left tackle Alejandro Villanueva, left guard Ben Powers have not practiced all week. Pat McCary finally got in his first practice yesterday, but he was out again. So, the way it's looking, unless Villanueva or Powers can get into practice tomorrow, the Ravens, who knows what they're going to do on the left side of the line. And then when you look at the Green Bay Packers, they're also missing a key piece. Kenny Clark will be out for this game, but they have some nice players along that line. Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary getting his career together, and some others. So, Jake, what do you feel about this matchup? It's kind of scary, especially since I might want to add Pat Ricard hasn't practiced all week after missing this game. He's been extra protection on that line. So the Ravens are hurting in this area.
Yeah, we could really use Nick Boyle returning. I don't know if it's going to happen this week, but Harbaugh kind of hinted that it's coming soon. So hopefully that happens just to help the offensive line. And then, of course, what he can do in the run game as well. And, he's not a bad receiver to add to the mix. So it is going to be a very tough battle. I was watching some all 22 of the Packers today, specifically looking at their defense and what offenses had to do against them. And the unit is impressive to me. You already mentioned some of the guys. Rashawn Gary, I thought he was going to be a bust after his first year, maybe year and a half with the Packers. And he's turned the corner, and he looks like a really good player. So he's going to be a problem for whoever we have at tackle. Same thing can be said about Preston Smith. Za'Darius is obviously not playing, which is good for Baltimore because he's a freak. And then another guy that is getting praise in Green Bay, but maybe not nationally, is Devondre Campbell. I think I said his name right. If not, we'll just say D. Campbell. And he looks good as well. Number 59, I believe. So, I mean, their front seven is really solid. Kenny Clark not being in the game is pretty big for us. He is a wrecking ball along that defensive line. Really their best pass rushing defensive lineman. And then he's a solid run player as well. So I guess we'll stick with trenches for now, and we'll get to the secondary later. But I have lots of thoughts on the Packers defense and what the Ravens might have to do on offense.
So Garnett, how are we going to keep this thing together with we have practice squad guys we probably have to call up. How are we going to keep this thing together and at least be competitive on this offensive line?
First, I think that really it just comes to figure out who we're gonna be with the sorry, that's my son in the background, but it's with the right tackle situation, man. Phil's gonna have to be key, man. He's gonna have to play a lights out. Like it's one of the things where I never asked for a perfect game from Phillips, but this is one of those games where I think this is be a great motivational game for the next one. I'm trying to think of a better word for that, but it'll come to me sooner or later. But it's one of the things where it'll be a nice build up for the game that we play next week. Just to build the momentum. But when it comes to hopefully the center will be good. Bozeman, pray to God for that. And then with Zeitler, man, it's so many things, so many pieces that might have to be shuffled. And that in the same time when it comes to with Cleveland, man, like it's that's a scary thing as well. So I don't have an answer for you, man. It's one of the things where Sharp might finally get called up. Finally, a tackle that we signed might have an opportunity to step up in the game for one. So I can't wait to see I can't wait to see what the shuffle's gonna look like, man. I can't have an answer for you as of right now, but I do trust Joe D to get these boys prepared for whatever comes.
Yeah, Tyree Phillips, you mentioned him. He's sick, not COVID sick from what we know. Maybe it's some kind of bug or flu going around, but he hasn't practiced this week because of just I hate to characterize it as a regular sickness, but a non-COVID sickness. So there is a chance that we'll have Tyree Phillips, and then Zeitler and then Bozeman on that right side. And then I'm really interested to see what happens on the left side. I mean, we've wanted on this show. We've been advocates of Ben Cleveland getting a shot. Looks like he's going to get his shot this week. Not how we wanted it, though, Jake. Like we wanted him to earn it. You know what I mean? And be a force and be like, man, we can't keep this guy out of the lineup. Well, he's going to get a chance to show what he can do this week. And then, of course, my out of the box idea from weeks ago was to have McCary at left tackle because Alejandro Villanueva was really messing with Lamar's timing. and we've seen that come to fruition. I mean, I got a lot of pushback for that idea, but man, you're seeing strip sacks and stuff like that. Huntley, it's affecting his timing too. So really a lot of unknowns on this line. It's a spot that all of us would give a big advantage to the Green Bay Packers. So moving on to the run game. Let's put the numbers up on the screen, fellas. Baltimore Ravens run offense, 5th in the league, 4.6 yards per carry. This is where Green Bay has some issues. They are allowing 4.5 yards per carry, which is 23rd in the league. Of course, there's a lot of teams bunched together there, 4.3, 4.4, 4.5. But 4.5, once you get up to 4.5, that's not the kind of run defense you want. I mean, here in Baltimore, we had under 4 yards per carry for the longest time. The game has changed a little bit. But this is the spot, fellas, where I feel like the Ravens have to win, where they can shorten this game, where they can make the game ugly if they can pound the rock. We've seen them do it against teams like Minnesota and against the Los Angeles Chargers, who were not strong run defenses. But this Green Bay pass defense that we'll get into is a very, very good group. So if the Ravens want to win this game, they're going to have to do it on the ground. Garnett, ground and pound. What's your philosophy here? Should we be running the ball a lot this week?
Yes, in a way, but I feel weird, man. I keep on saying the same thing over and over and over, man. Every week, can we please see a quick passing game equivalent to a run game? I'm gonna keep on saying it until it happens. I know it might get boring to a lot of viewers, but I'm pretty sure when they watch the video, they're like, "Thank you," which is awesome. But it's one of those. It's a situation where, man, it's the truth, man. Like until we space out these receivers outside the hash and use the spacing, and then also equip that with a quick passing game and create lanes for the running game. It's so easy for defenders to literally sit back 4 to 5 yards and literally have their eyes in the backfield and be worried about the secondary the whole time. I mean, worry about don't even worry about the receiver, but just have their eyes in the backfield and basically key in on, indicators of what the run's going to be when they see a Ricard pull or, certain, just the basics that we do, or we see a Duvernay come across with emotion. We obviously know that's probably going to be a speed sweep. It's one of those things where until we fix that, it's going to be hard to really, I'm not looking for a 20-yard run. I'm not saying that's out of our capabilities other than the quarterback doing it. But, I feel like the fact that until we, add an actual complete short game, it's going to be really hard to have a really nice balanced run game. That's the best way.
Okay. Gotcha. So we're going to need the pass game to open up that run game. Jake, do you agree with that? Or do you think this is the kind of team that we can pound with Devontae Freeman? And, if you were watching that Packers game from last week, Justin Fields ripped them on a bunch of runs. Montgomery looked good early. The Packers were down 10-0 in that game. And I believe it was like 24-14. They were down 10 at another point, I believe. Can the Ravens start off the game and rip, say run, have a 15-play drive where 10 of them are runs, and just wear out this Packers defense? Or is that asking way too much?
Prior to the Kenny Clark news, I would say the same thing as Garnett. The Packers run defense, just in the couple games that I was able to watch, looked much better than it has in years past. And really, they seem to be a unit that kind of flows to the ball well, doesn't want to give up big plays. But then when they do get gashed, it's four bigger ones. And it's usually when you spread them out. So the Ravens typically like to be in these heavy sets. There's usually a fullback on the field, obviously, if Ricard's healthy, at least a tight end, maybe two tight ends. But the Ravens might find more success in the running game if they spread things out a little bit and maybe go with more of the halfback delay approach or the quarterback scramble up the middle. That seemed to be where they were getting gashed by Fields. The runs, even to the outside by Fields, there might be a couple here and there that he can get loose, but I felt like their contain is really solid because they play so much zone coverage on the back end. Their eyes are always in the backfield looking at the quarterback. So, yes, without Kenny Clark, I think the Ravens are going to be able to run the ball decently well, and they should stick to that to not only shorten the game, but also to just move the ball down the field, because that secondary is a strength of the Packers, and so is their pass rush. And how do you stop that? You run the ball. So I agree with Garnett that the quick passing game has to be a key part in this one. But I also agree with you, Jason. I think you were alluding to it that running the ball is going to be pretty massive in this one.
This is why he's in the middle, because he's our middleman on this one.
He's somewhat, I'm with you, Garnett. Like, I could see us running the ball out of a more spread formation, like Jake is saying, spread them out and run out of that. But especially without Nick Boyle and Pat Ricard, who are our dominant forces when the field is shrank. So, yeah, spread them out, use what looks to be Tyler Huntley's legs. I'm sure most fans watching this know that Lamar is a game time decision, not looking like, if I had to guess, not looking like he's going to play because the coaches are being really coy about it and that kind of thing. So, but with Tyler Huntley, he'll be a part of the running game as well. So yeah, I'm looking for the Ravens to try to shorten this game as much as possible, to ugly it up. The Green Bay Packers gave up a 46-yard touchdown on a jet sweep last week. They gave up a punt return for a touchdown. So, tackling in space, this team with their special teams look kind of awful, by the way. The Ravens can take advantage, win the game in special teams. Maybe Duvernay is able to hit something on these jet sweeps. Tyler Huntley, Devontae Freeman. I mean, really, we're not getting anything out of any other running back but Devontae Freeman. But yeah, in this game, come hell or high water, like, I would like to see Roman stick with the run as long as he possibly can, because once the points start flowing, you're going to have to throw the ball, and that's when you're in trouble. So yeah, I'm hoping that this is where the Ravens can find a pathway to win this game through their running game, smash mouth football. So any final thoughts on the run game before we move to the pass game? Anybody got anything? Devondre Campbell, though, Jake mentioned him. For those that don't know, he'll have long hair sticking out of his helmet. That guy is extremely active and a force. A very good player at middle linebacker for them. So you got to watch out for Mr. Campbell. So the passing offense of the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Tyler Huntley's completion percentage is up, but the yards per attempt keep going down for this unit. The Ravens are now 14th in the NFL, 7.3 yards per attempt. The Ravens have also given up a league worst 47 sacks, if you can believe that. The Green Bay pass defense is a strength of this team. They are 5th in the league. They're only allowing 6.7 yards per attempt. They have some true star power back there, even without Jair Alexander. You look at their safeties, they're as good as they get in the league. I love their safety group. I love the corners that they have. So, Jake, I think we're starting with you on this one. The Ravens passing attack, with or without Lamar Jackson. Mark Andrews coming off a career day. What can you tell us about this matchup, both the good and the bad?
Yeah, man, the group that the Packers have is really solid. Like you mentioned, Darnell Savage, a guy that people in Baltimore should know from his days at Maryland. Really good player, kind of Pro Bowl caliber safety. He was kind of mirroring Allen Robinson in the end zone on last week when they played the Bears. So he looks good. Adrian Amos is the other safety that starts. He's around
Baltimore
the ball.
zone.
Yep, he's around the ball all the time. So another really solid player. And then their corners without Jair Alexander are still like a top unit in this league. They have Chandon Sullivan, who is looking good against Cooper Kupp, which is something that you don't hear very often. They have Rasul Douglas, who is the Green Bay version of Marcus Peters. No, he's not Marcus, but he has the eyes and the nose for the ball. So I would watch out for him. And then the other guy is Georgia's own Eric Stokes, number 21, I believe. and he's balling out, pretty well too this year. So it is tough, and I don't know for sure, but I think Jair is practicing and has a chance to play in this game. And if that's the case, I mean, Baltimore is going to have to figure out something creative on offense to just move the ball down the field. Green Bay still likes to play a ton of zone, so they don't give up much deep in their passing attack, but they certainly do allow things underneath. So I imagine Devontae Freeman and Mark Andrews and the quick passing game, like Garnett mentioned, are going to have to be the keys in this one.
So Garnett, I'm going to set you up here. They play a lot of dime defense and later defenses. Henry Black, I noticed him on Cole Kmet a lot last week. Not a name that I'm super familiar with. Compared to the other guys, I would say he's a weak link. No offense to Henry Black, but I mean, you're playing with Amos and Savage and just some all-stars back there. So Garnett, a lot of lighter personnel, which kind of leans into where I was saying stick with this run to try to win it and switch it up. But what can you say about this Ravens passing attack? You can take it from a Tyler Huntley perspective. You can take it for, you already mentioned the quick passing game. What else would you like to see, or what do you expect to happen? Take it away, sir.
Yeah, I would like to see a more. How can I put this? It's not obviously what Jake said. Is not going to be allowing things vertically, but it's one of the things where I would like to see, isolated X receiver, routes. So basically, just to give an idea, so I would like to see a 3-by-1 concept. So basically, I'm not going to insult nobody's intelligence, but just making sure, you have your YN, your two receivers or whatever on the right side, doing whatever, or just some of that similarity over there, and then you have your X receiver isolated by themselves.
Mr. Bateman.
Yeah, Mr. Bateman, obviously, yes, sir. And then you want him to basically have see if you can win a one-on-one. See if you can have those opportunities to create. If they're gonna play a lot of zone, this is perfect. This is one of those games like it could be so perfect for Tyler Hunt in so many ways. If we go by perfect, I don't say perfect design, but just the right designs with the formations, because it's gonna allow Huntley to Bateman check one. They're bracketing. All right, check two. Basically, Black on Andrews. Got it. All right, it's of that nature. Then move the chains, run the ball. That's what I'm saying. I'm just to make sure. I don't mind running the ball, but it's one of the things where we do this so often to where we runs ourselves into trouble, literally. And it's one of those ones where we get the 1 yard run and then it's 2 and 9. Then all of a sudden we're fighting this. We're fighting the chains more than we're fighting the team. So it's one of the things, and that's where I would like to see just be able to spread these guys out, because like it's one of the things where you're literally helping Eric Stokes or a Sullivan. You're helping the secondary. The more you stay condensed, the easier it is as a secondary to see everything in front of them. So if you spread them out, that's why I think we have success with the X receiver. And I do believe we can catch. I can feel like we can catch them slipping due to a mobile quarterback like Justin Fields. It's not out of reach. It's just the fact that how we're going to attack them.
Yeah, they want to sit back in that zone, like Jake said, and they let their front four attack. And I mean, with Kenny Clark is a big part of that with the interior pressure. So the Ravens are used to their edges just getting worn out. And with Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary, I don't see that changing this week. The Packers are going to burn the edge and pressure very quickly. It's going to be on Ben Cleveland, Ben Cleveland, Bozeman, and Zeitler to really provide some room up there and to step up. And Jake, I wanted to ask you one more side note before we switch sides of the ball. You saw, obviously, Jake is our resident Georgia Bulldogs fan. Eric Stokes versus Bateman. Mm-hmm. What do we expect in this matchup? You know Stokes better than any of us. So what are you looking for? Talk about that matchup at length if you could.
Sure. I mean, they're both really good players. If I simply had one-on-one situations, I would give the edge to Rashad Bateman. I mean, Personally, I had Bateman rated higher in the draft than I had Stokes, and that's not anything against Eric. It's more that I see him as like a high end CB2, and that's truly what he is in Green Bay. But Jair has missed some time, so he's kind of been that number one guy. So Stokes and the Green Bay defense in general do play a lot of zone coverage, and he actually did it at Georgia too, and he's really good at it. So it's not going to be an easy matchup by any means, but if you can get them into some man coverage looks and isolate Bateman versus Eric, there's not much advantage for Rashad in terms of height or speed. Eric has those in bunches as well.
Right.
But as far as being a pure route runner, Rashad should be able to gain a little bit of separation, and I like his ability to go up above the rim and get the ball and play that physical style that we used to see with Anquan Bolden. I'm not saying that Rashad's the same guy, but we saw some glimpses of a dominant player last week. So that's kind of where I am with that particular matchup. This game is going to be tough though, because those corners, even without Jair, are really solid.
So yeah, so Garnett, Mark's got a tough matchup too. I mean, even if Henry Black is covering him, Adrian Amos is going to be lurking somewhere. You're going to have Savage, all eyes forward with that zone defense. So is there a place where the Ravens could get an advantage in the pass game? Like who would you target? How would you go about this, Garnett?
I'll probably it all depends on if they say they put Stokes on him, and man, if Jair, it really depends on Jair Alexander coming back, really, because that really makes you want to shuffle how okay, if Jair is on Hollywood, okay, I'm gonna target Bateman, or I'm gonna target Bateman or whoever we have on the field. Hopefully we do. I'm just hoping we have 3 receiver sets, man. That's just my thing, 11 personnel. I think us being 11 personnel is basically we have the personnel to do it. It's just the fact that are we going to be able to scheme it up correctly and execute? And with that situation, I would like to target basically Stokes, like how Jake was saying, man. It's one of the things where that would be our best chance, especially on the outside perimeter. But when it comes to like tight end wise, I would like to see if we can put Andrews in those one-on-one situations scheme wise. But I do, it's one of the things where I do know the safeties will be lurking because there are a bunch of savages back there. See what I did there? But it's
nice.
one of the things, yeah, man. But it's one of the things where it's a really tricky situation, man. And Duvernay's and the Prochets, we've been asking for them all season, but they could play a critical part in those rotational snaps as well. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so let's flip it over to the other side of the ball when the Packers have the ball versus the Ravens. Now, if there's another place I think the Ravens can take advantage of, it is that this Packers offensive line. David Bakhtiari hasn't played all year. He's back, practicing with the team, but the Packers, they have a unproven offensive line against a great defensive front. So, Garnett, what kind of matchups are you looking for on this?
I'm looking for a slobber knocker down there, man. I don't know if you old school WWF/WWE fans remember JR Jim Ross, but slobber knocker with especially with B Will. All of a sudden, he wants to come back to be Big Baby, man, which is a beautiful thing. I feel like we can dominate the trenches. I do believe we can do that, but it's one of those things where, like, if we can just stop Aaron Jones or stop, AJ Dillon before they get the wheels turning, we have a chance to really dominate them behind the line or at the line of scrimmage, and that'd be a beautiful thing. So when it comes to their, their running offense, like they're gonna probably break maybe 1 or 2. I'm not saying like maybe like for 10, 15 yards or somewhere there. It's gonna happen, but I'm very confident in the trenches play. Matabuke, he's been on and off all season, but he's been having. It's weird. Like he's been on and off, but he's been having a lot of more positives more than negatives.
I'm with you, Jake. His stock is rising, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's showing up like consistently, and that's a beautiful thing. Roger Washington, like he's good.
He's good.
That's all I can say, man, about those guys in the interior. Those three, I think, those two, Matabuke and Washington. Just to clarify, man, we're solid. We just need a third, a piece, after B will, either if he stays or goes, solid. But anyway, when it comes to the pass rusher side, I think Odafe, Bowser, Houston, I think they can really dominate. I believe they can.
Calais Campbell, I didn't say did not practice, which is important to know for this segment. So no Derek Wolf, of course, all year. No Calais, Broderick Washington, one of those guys that they trust to put out there at 5 Tech, and have a cut up on the channel this week of his game last week. Very good game for the young man. So yeah, no Calais Campbell, Jake.
Yeah, it's tough. Calais has missed some time really in his first 2 years with us. And that's disappointing, but he's obviously a good player when he's on the field. Brandon Williams has really stepped it up. I truly believe he was dealing with some injuries. I know some fans are down on him because the man gets paid a lot for, one specific job, which is clogging up the running lanes, and just stopping the ground game. So, but he is back to a good form. And I think the Ravens do have the guys up front to stop the Packers' rushing offense. And their offensive line is not great. They've dealt with injuries too, but I mean, in Baltimore, I don't know that there is a worse offensive line in the NFL right now, simply because of our tackles. And I don't mean disrespect to the guys. It's just they weren't supposed to be starters. I guess AV going into the year was planned or penciled in as a starter, but it is a tough scene. Patrick McCary has played well. Hopefully, with him practicing this week, things go well for him and for the offensive line in general. But the Packers group, not so great. And one of the strengths of the Ravens defense is our outside linebacker room. Justin Houston, Adafe Owe, Tyus Bowser, you guys named them. So I'm not too worried about the ground game. It's about stopping A.J. Dillon, who is kind of the Nick Chubb of their offense, and then also containing those edges, just like we had to do against Cleveland. They like to do all kinds of things in their running game. It makes sense with LaFleur being under that Shanahan tree, the zone stuff. But when Aaron Jones is out on the field, they are trying to get to the perimeter. He doesn't run quite as well up through the middle, in my opinion. But if he gets a corner on the outside, watch out because the man has some speed.
Yeah, I tell you, Joshua Nijman is the Packers left tackle, unknown, stepping into big shoes, Bakhtiari shoes. I don't think that he's seen anybody like a Justin Houston. Last week he was facing Robert Quinn. Quinn gave him a lot of trouble, especially early in that game. I can see Houston dominating that matchup. Adafi away, and again on the right tackle, Billy Turner, guy that we know. I believe he played for the Tennessee Titans. Wasn't he a Titan, guys? Billy Turner, pretty sure. He went out. It's Dennis
Kelly or Dennis Kelly.
Kelly.
Yeah,
Dennis Kelly. That's what I meant. Yeah. Billy Turner was their starter, got hurt. They had to turn to Dennis Kelly, former Tennessee Titan. I'm almost positive. I remember him. Him and Conklin. He took him and Conklin over there. But yeah, and then in center guard, Lucas Patrick, their center, and then you have a pair of young players, Royce Newman and John Runyon Jr. Not highly coveted draft pieces, mid-rounder types. So yeah, there's an opportunity all across the board here for the Ravens, for Brandon Williams to get a lot of push, for Adafi away, Justin Houston to dominate, Tyus Bowser to bull rush Kelly into next week. There is a lot of opportunity there. We mentioned the running game of the Ravens has to step up. We mentioned that being able to run the ball is one possibility, one path to victory for the Ravens. Well, the other is what we've seen in some Super Bowls and some other big games, which is where your front four is just whooping butt, up front. And the Ravens are going to need every bit of that in this game. So, hey, I guess let's move on to the Green Bay Packers run game. Now, you guys know Aaron Jones. You guys know A.J. Dillon. two good backs. But despite that, the Green Bay Packers only average 4.1 yards per carry, which is 20th in the league. The Ravens' run defense keeps ascending, even after facing the Cleveland Browns 2 out of the last 3 weeks. The Ravens' yards per carry all the way down to 3.9 yards per carry allowed. That is third in the league. So this is the strength of the Ravens versus the weaker part of the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, the Packers can throw the ball on anybody. But yeah, the run defense, it's going to be really important for the Ravens to keep this Packers team one-dimensional. Garnett, what are the odds we can keep two good backs like Dylan, like Aaron Jones down because of our domination on the defensive line?
I think the success rate could be really darn good. And to be honest with you, they don't do nothing special in the run game. They're not super creative or whatsoever. Like it's pretty. You see AJ Dillon. It's going to be ground to pound dive by power right up the middle type of thing. It's like Jake said it perfect. Like it's
Yeah.
almost it's tipping the hat when you see certain backs on the field. So it's not like how they had Williams from last year, the guy that he went to Detroit, where it was like you really couldn't get a good feel for what they were trying to do. But now it's like, okay, AJ Dillon in ground and pound. Oh, Aaron Jones, probably like a zone scheme to the outside or something. So I think we can have very good success, but I'm not trying to lean into the pass game, what we're going to get into next. But it's all about the tempo that the Green Bay Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay Packers set, because of the fact that like literally they're probably going to try their best to catch us in certain personnel packages, which is that what goes back to the green dot issue. It could get way left, as they say in this young community work, which means it can be really horrible. So I don't know, man. If we can control the tempo at our pace, I think we're good. But if we can't control the tempo and they're trying to go up tempo on us, that's where it could get ugly.
Yeah, agreed. And let's just get right into the pass game there, because I think everybody's in agreement. We have the tools to hold this Green Bay. We've just held down Cleveland, some other rush defense or rushing teams way down. But when it comes to the passing game, you have Aaron Rodgers. And what doesn't he do well? He does everything well. One of the things that he doesn't let you do is substitute. He controls the tempo. Like Garnett said, the Ravens are going to have guys playing maybe extra snaps this week because we're not able to substitute. He will catch you substituting and he will snap it, take a shot downfield with you 12 men on the field. Use classic Aaron Rodgers, believing, your coach might have to burn a timeout to avoid one of those situations. Like Aaron Rodgers is a master manipulator. And I say that in the most complimentary way possible. He manipulates the game from, like, if you look at the Green Bay offense, they have Aaron Rodgers, they have Davante Adams, and then they have a bunch of guys that I would take Ravens over, basically, in the passing game, weapons at tight end. It's just Adams and Rodgers, but Rodgers just has such a good feel for what's going on when dictating the action. Mention the numbers now. Let's put them up because this is the scary part of the game. The Ravens are 27th now in yards per attempt allowed, 7.8. The Green Bay offense, you can see where they're a possession offense, 7.7 yards per pass attempt is 8th in the league. So pretty good, but you don't see a ton of deep shots because of, Davante Adams. The offense runs through him, and he is more of a possession guy. So this is the big problem. Like, Garnett, we mentioned the run game of the Ravens being a possible advantage. We know the front four of the Ravens defense is a possible advantage. But quite honestly, Garnett, none of that's going to matter if we get cut up by Aaron Rodgers in this pass game.
Yes, and I'm gonna go straight to the point, man. Wink, I'm looking at you and I'm talking to you, big dog. Don't beat me up. But so with that being said, cut it out with
Be
cut it.
nice to Wink. Be
Yeah.
nice to Wink.
Yeah, cut it out with the man coverage and the zero blitzes this week. This is one of the things where we can't do that. Like, not at all. Reason why I say that because the fact that they do some nice shifty designs for Adams and other receivers. Like even with Equinemius St. Brown, yes, that guy that you don't even know of, probably from Notre Dame that I know of. Yeah, but it's like those guys, like they'll design anything for anybody, and everybody. And the one thing that I saw, there was a nice play that they do, and I thought about the Ravens instantly when it comes to the man coverage, where they had Adams go in motion, well, immediately right after the snap, and basically he goes behind the line. It was like basically it was a gigantic wash pick play where the corner had to fight through the traffic, and all of a sudden he's wide open on the left side of the field. So it's one of those things where, like, I can't see us playing a lot of man this week. There's no way in hell I don't want to see that. I maybe some man to a certain degree when we get in the red zone, maybe. But when it comes to like open field, like they got to drive, don't do that. Don't put these guys in certain situations where you're setting them up for failure. Like you're making bad film for individual players, and when it's not even their fault. And that's what ground my gears, man. And I just had to throw that out there. But I think we can have a very successful, play against them because like we was talking about our pressure. I think we can get to the quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to throw you interceptions. He's only thrown 4 interceptions all year this week. So
27-4. Yep, 27 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Exactly. So the fact that he's gonna throw it away more than anything, which is a win for us. I take that as a sack in my opinion when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, that's all I want to say. I'll let you guys speak on it, but I just threw my piece out there.
Yeah, I want to ask Jake about this because Jake Garnett's asking us to play zone defense. We're a man defense team. Like that's our thing. Like it'd be like saying, okay, guys, everything that we've been doing since training camp, don't do that. We're going to sit in zone and let Aaron Rodgers carve us up to Devontae Adams. Garnett, go ahead, jump in. What do you got to say?
No. Just saying, but like when we played Patrick Mahomes, what did we not do?
Yeah, it was right. I see what you mean.
That's all. That's why I was just trying to get it. It's one
of those variation.
It's one of those things where certain quarterbacks you can get away with certain things, but like Patrick Mahomes of the world, Aaron Rodgers of the world, you just can't like put people in certain situations. It's like the fact that the Chicago game is a perfect example. They put Jalen Johnson 1-on-1 with Devontae Adams. They knew it was a set. Yeah, with Jalen Johnson, man, it's crazy because the fact that like, why would you put your corner in a situation like that? So it's one. That's what I was saying when it comes to Wink, we have a knack for doing that to our players at the wrong time consistently. So it's one of the things where we have Westwood that just came off an injury going against Marquise Goodwin, Olympic track star, and basically got beat with a double move and trying to recover from those steps. So it's one of the things where if we just play, I'm gonna say we can't play. You're never gonna play a perfect game of football, but if you put these guys in the correct situation, I can live with them making a mistake or getting beat. But when you set them up for failure, that's when I have an issue.
Gotcha. So Jake, how are you feeling about how are we going to stop Devontae Adams? Who do you think's going to be? He's going to be on Anthony Averett's side a lot up there at the top of your screen. But is there anything that we can do? I mean, these guys have like an unbelievable connection. Do you just have to? I remember college basketball. Being a Terps fan, it was like, look, we're going to let Tim Duncan score his points, but we're going to shut everything else down. We're not going to help on Tim Duncan and let this guy get hot or that guy get hot. We're just going to let Tim Duncan score his 25 points, and they're going to get nothing else from anybody. Like, what can the Ravens do against this duo?
I think you have to try to slow them down. Obviously, those are the key players in the game: Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and then I would also add Aaron Jones. Even in the passing game, if you can lock down, well, you're not going to be able to lock them down, but if you can try to slow those guys down, it gives you the best chance to have a good game defensively. And I think that's the key. I know Garnett is saying, hey, let's play a bunch of zone, 4-man rush. I'm with the 4-man rush. I think we're going to have some man coverage, but the thing that I like about the zone idea, or maybe you're still playing man, but not necessarily the shadow type, where if Adams is moving across the field, maybe you can actually pass off the responsibility in a smart way, where if he moves to the other side, then that guy can pick him up and then you can take a different man. Right now with no Marlon Humphrey, no Marcus Peters, I mean, the corners are pretty equally capable guys out there. Anthony Averett maybe is the better matchup against Adams, but Westry is physically talented. He has all the gifts you could ever want. He has the height, he has the length, and the speed. He really does have that recovery speed. So if he gets beat on a move by Adams, he's going to be able to recover at some point during the route. So I am cool with Adams moving across the formation like he typically does, and the Ravens kind of just allowing the corners to take him whenever he's their guy. That's going to be key. Oh, sorry about that. Personally, I in fantasy football, this is not, but this is one of those games that I expect a tight end in Green Bay. It would normally be Robert Tonyan, but he's hurt. Josiah DeGuara, something like that,
from Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think he will have a solid game. So if you're in like a DFS or you're in a playoff matchup and your tight end's hurt or has COVID, I would consider grabbing him. I don't like playing players against the Ravens because that's who I am. But in these type matchups, I kind of go with one of the periphery guys that the Ravens might not have as much attention on, and I think he could have a solid game. So you're not going to get destroyed by the guy, but you can't allow Adams and Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers just have a complete awesome day against your defense.
Yes, and one thing I'd like to offer as a solution would be to have Oweh specifically at the rush end, and to have him drop in coverage. And people aren't going to like me to hear that. They want Oweh rushing. And yes, I mean, he's rushed a lot more. His rush rate is pretty high. We're turned Oweh loose. We finally did it. It's been the last over a month. So if you don't believe me, go ahead and check out. I'll have a cut up of one of Oweh's games on there. But hear me out here, fellas. If Davante Adams is lined up at X on the left side of the Green Bay Packers formation, one of the ways we can help that corner out there by himself is to have an athlete like Odafe Oweh drop off his spot and into those slant zones, try to take away the slant that Davante Adams has mastered. Like just one more obstacle for Aaron Rodgers to have to go around. Of course, you can put Bowser on that side. That's his specialty. If not Odafe Oweh. So however they want to mix and match it, let Justin Houston rush, let Matabike rush. We can get our rushers from elsewhere. If you want to help, have one of our outside linebackers help shallow on Davante Adams. And then, try to let both Westry and Anthony Averett are great athletes. The speed is there. Westry's a little taller, longer. But Averett, man, I mean, he is a quick guy, a 4.2 type guy, 4.3 type guy at worst. So, but other than that, guys, we have to limit Aaron Rodgers in the pass game as much as we can. And really, for me, it's more about how we do against their running game. Like, we have to make them one-dimensional. We can't give them the option to where they're getting positive plays on pass plays and rush plays. Them at that point, we don't know what to do. We're pretty much SOL. If we can shut down the rush game like we want to, we can limit Rodgers somewhat. If not, this is going to be ugly. So, final thoughts on this game. The spread is at 5.5, I believe. 5.5 Green Bay's direction. That was before Chuck Clark was put on COVID. It's pretty rough. In our weekly pick'em shows, I actually picked Green Bay in this game at minus the 5.5 because I could see things getting out of hand if the Ravens don't play at the top of their game. So Garnett, final thoughts on this game, sir. And then I'm going to go around one more time. Like, what do you think? This is how I want you guys to answer, if you could. First step, what do you think is going to happen in this game? Number two, How can the Ravens pull this out? What is their best pathway to victory? Who needs to have a good game? That kind of stuff. So tell me what you expect to happen, and then tell me how the Ravens can dominate this game, say.
What I expect to happen if we get the ball first, I hope I expect us to put 7 on the board in the first quarter. Okay, I'm just joking. No, I'm not. So I want 7 on the board in the first quarter, man. This is one of those games where I literally we all literally witness, Devontae Adams, like we talked about earlier. They come out slow, and then all of a sudden you blink, Devontae Adams has like 10 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it's one of those things where you have to when you have opportunity to score, you make them count. If you go get your 7, don't get your 8, get what you can get when it's there. And also when it comes to them, I would like to make them fight the chains. Put them in a 2-9 or 2-11 situation where now it's like, okay, now we just got to move to get the ball to the first down marker. If we can do that, I think we can be successful on defense. And back to offense, man, is just basically just put these guys in good situations to win. Just put those create one-on-one opportunities. Create good running lanes as we talk about, so we can control the clock. I think controlling the clock will play very important in this game. But what I expect to happen, man, it all depends on what the health concerns, man. If we don't have a healthy team, man, I feel like we're gonna be walking with 3 shoes on us, 2 on our feet and 1 up our butt. Yeah.
Offensive line, Garnett. That's what you're talking about with the injuries, pretty much.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I expect Tyler Huntley to be the quarterback in this game, simply because Lamar hasn't been back at practice yet, and it just seems like maybe the coaching staff, specifically Harbaugh, is just playing games, making the Packers prepare for Lamar, even if he's not going to play. So that doesn't change the offense a ton. Thankfully, Huntley has a similar skill set to Lamar. He's not quite as special, but he can make some things happen. And when he scrambles around there, he looks almost identical to Lamar. Makes some really great moves. You saw that long run against the Browns last week. So in this particular game, I am hoping that Greg Roman just has the game of his life. He needs the perfect game plan. The offense needs to put up points when they can. Yeah, exactly, Garnett. And I think they need to take advantage of the things that the defense is giving up. And based on what I've seen, it's a lot of things underneath. It's the quick passing game. It's some runs here and there. It is quarterback scrambles up the middle of the offensive line, especially when they're spread out. That is going to be there for the taking. And then, of course, Devin Duvernay on end arounds and things like that. Special teams is going to be critical in this one, but it's really about the offense having a pretty much not perfect, but a pretty darn close to perfect day, and not allowing any turnovers on offense, and then probably getting 2 on defense. So do I expect all of that to happen? I don't think anyone can expect all of it to happen, but you darn know I'm going to be rooting for it and hoping for it and praying for that stuff to happen. And I think the Ravens have a real shot since this is a home game, and because they've already lost 2 straight. I'm just going to go with that.
I like it. If I had a couple of bold predictions in this one, I'm going to throw them out there. I feel like we're going to see some kind of fake punt in this game. Maybe it's a 4th and 4 from our own 30 or something like that. Not your predictable we're at midfield fake punt, but like deep in our own territory fake punt. I also would like to bold predict that our first touchdown that we score, if it's the first touch, even if it's the first score of the game, we're going to go for 2. You remember how Harbaugh coached the prior Kansas City Chiefs games? That's kind of what I expect in this game, like going all out as far as coaching, 4th downs, fake punts, going for 2. I expect Harbaugh to do all that to put as many points on the board and to put as much pressure on the Green Bay Packers as he can. So, yeah, if we get a fake punt and we go for 2 off the first score, those are kind of bold predictions, Jake. And it looks like we lost our friend Garnett, man. And he's the closer of the show. He's texting me. Internet is out. So that's going to leave it for me and you, Jake, to finish this show. No pressure. What do you have a funny anecdote or something? You know, I'd like to end the show on a light note. What can you give us, Jake? Show us your personality, my friend.
Man, I don't know, man.
Jake,
I don't know what to tell you, man.
you put all the pressure on me, man. Like, now I got to come up with something. Usually I got Garnett. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Garnett always brings it.
He does. Well, Jake, that's okay, buddy. Just trying to give you a hard time. And I think it was good analysis today. We had a lot to dig into. Hopefully the Ravens play tough, play physical. If we're the more physical team, and honestly, Jake, the turnovers is just going to be key because the Green Bay is not going to give away the ball. We cannot afford to give away the ball. And that's why I'm looking to run the ball on this one. I really don't want to see Huntley or Lamar, if he's in there, getting blindsided by Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith with who knows who's playing left tackle.
Right.
Hey, like Eminem said, guess who's back?
Back again for the second time. This stupid ass internet. Charter is the best, I tell you that.
So Garnett, final thoughts, brother. Take us out of here. Song, what do you got? Personal advice. This is your time to shine, sir. What's Stella telling you?
Stella telling me to not let John Wick, aka Aaron Rodgers, get hot. That's what Stella's telling me. Don't let him get his groove, but let us get our groove. It's in the first quarter. I feel like if we can literally just put up some points in the first quarter, man, that makes a world difference. It builds confidence up for a beat up offensive lineman. It builds confidence for a backup quarter. It builds confidence all around, coaching staff, receivers, etc. Quarter, everything, just a whole team. And I feel like if we can just get that, and hopefully not be a drive killer, I feel like we can be successful, down the road in that game, man. Because I feel, like I said, like you said earlier, Jason, they come out a little slow, man, just like us. So it's all about who can catch rhythm first. And I feel like that can make a huge, huge difference. And just don't let John Wick get hot, man.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha, man. So thank you both for this discussion. I thought this is one of the more in-depth shows that we've done. I enjoyed this show, and it was tough because we don't know who's playing, who's not because of COVID. I mean, this show could turn on its ear in 24 hours. So I'm gonna have to hurry up, edit this thing, get it out fast as I can. So thank you guys, and thank you to my football family. Really appreciate you guys watching the show, commenting, DMing me on Twitter. Sending me good notes and advice and telling you what you think. Really appreciate all that. So with that, we'll say goodnight. Say goodnight, fellas.
Hey, man. God bless.